Hey guys, what's going on? Steven back again, and I'm back with another video from the Templin Institute. And today's video is about the Blood Angels chapter. Now quickly, before I get into that, I was going through some of my stuff, and if there are any fantasy fans out there watching, got a little something for you. A little blast from the past, if you will. I found my old Vampire Counts Codex Army book, whichever you want to call it. Yep. How cool is this? Talk about really taking you back. Oh my god. Zacharias, the ever-living. Manfred von Karstein. Yep. And then of course all the units and everything like that. Stats for skeletons. Oh my god, Vampire Lord. Now a fully decked out Vampire Lord could hold his own against a fully decked out Chaos Lord. I mean, there weren't many lords that could go toe to toe with a fully decked out Chaos Lord, but Vampire Lords very much could. Look at the stats. Vampire Lord, 285 points. Movement 6, weapon skill 8, strength, toughness 5, leadership 10, what's that, 5 attacks, initiative 8. Yep. How cool is that? I'm sure the rules and everything has changed with Age of Sigmar now. I can only imagine how much different it is. Both that and 40k. Oh my god, the spells of necromancy. I still have the page folded. The Black Heart, Invocation of Nahek, a 3, a 7, or 11 plus. Curse of Years, 10. Gaze and Nagash, an 8 or higher. Yep. Lamia, Blood Dragons. All the different bloodlines. Von Karstein. Yep. Oh my god, all the armor. Armor of Bone, Wailing Helmet. Look at all the magic items you could take. Arcane items. Which way am I going? Going this way. Magic Standards, Spell Familiar. Extra 15 points. Enchanted items. Man. I don't even remember how much these were. I think it was like 15 bucks or so. But yeah, I figured you guys might get a kick out of that, and a little blast from the past, if you will. Alright, so anyways, yeah, let's take a look at the Blood Angels chapter. Here we go. I mean, I did find my old 40k rulebook that I did show you guys in another video. You know, if you want to see it again, let me know and I'll do it in like the next video if you want to see it.
In the brutal life of a space marine, there is little room for anything but the art of war. Beauty, grace, artistry, and empathy, all of these are discarded within a galaxy of only carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods. It is perhaps a miracle then, that within one of the greatest chapters of the Adeptus Astartes,
oh nice, they're using new footage.
Appreciation for these forgotten aspects, which at their core remain innately human.
That's awesome that they're using new footage.
Warriors of this chapter were lifted up from savage beginnings, driven by ideals of humanity and hope that have endured to form the core of their creed. Within them still blazes the beauty, grace, artistry, and empathy of the great angel Sanguinius, yet now offset by a rage and ruthlessness fueled by his slaughter at the hands of the archenemy. And while the most triumphant among them can only be a pale imitation of their fallen Primarch, all have risen to meet this legacy. Those who have supped from the sanguinary
yeah, because wasn't Sanguinius like a really good fighter?
Manner, furious in battle, and worthy of the title Blood Angel. Like every Space Marine Legion, the Blood Angels were founded during the latter days of the Unification Wars, and the first faltering steps of the Great Crusade. Known then simply as the Ninth Legion Astartes, they bore little resemblance to the angelic figures they would become. On Terra's bloody soil, and in the Xenos-infested moons of Jupiter, they earned for themselves a grim reputation, though they brought to ruin some of the worst abominations left over from Old Night in order to tame Sol for their Emperor. The Ninth Legion would become little more than outcasts for their savage and cruel approach to war. The process of Astartes' transformation gave each Marine an echo of the angelic features of their Primarch, still lost to them somewhere across the galaxy, but this only served to highlight the horrors they inflicted. Adopting the title of the Revenant Legion, they allowed their savagery in battle to become ever more excessive. Rumors surrounding the fate of several Imperial Army regiments assigned to their side, the hushed whispers of the brutal campaign of Ki Baran, and their actions during the Second Siege of Urant, earned the Legion the personal censor of Primarch Rogel Dawn, and cemented their cruel reputation across the growing Imperium. They were not the first Space Marine Legion to cross the boundaries of conduct set forth by the Emperor, and while the Ninth may never have suspected it, for a brief moment an executioner's sword hung above them, waiting
I might have
for
to
the
check
order
out
to
those
cast them
battles,
down,
see what those battles
an
are
order
like,
given only twice before.
or see what they were about.
With the fate of the Legion in the balance came their salvation. On an arid, radiation-baked moon orbiting the world of Baal, Baal Secundus, an angel of a man had arisen to unite the tribes of his home world in peaceful coexistence. A figure of perfect features and unrivaled grace, this man was worshipped as a god, soaring above his followers on a pair of immense angelic wings. He was named Sanguinius, a lost son of the Emperor and lost Primarch of the Ninth Legion. Sanguinius had survived in the inhospitable ruins of a
Something
shattered
about
world,
that picture.
and yet this had only served to refine his humanity. It is said that when he finally reunited with the Emperor of Man, he wept crystal tears from which flowers sprouted.
That
when they
picture
fell to
just
earth.
makes me think of,
From his father,
what is it, DJ
he
Qualls?
asked only that his people be spared, knowing full well that the pious sons of Baal were not
can't
of
be
the kind
unseen.
the Emperor desired for his Imperium. When the Emperor granted this request and reunited Sanguinius with his legion, it was this same empathy that drove him to see the promise in these blood-soaked killers. Refusing to acknowledge that they were beyond the hope of salvation, Sanguinius guided his sons to resist their deep-rooted thirst for blood and savagery, encouraging them to heighten their humanity rather than debase it. It was through this effort that they took on a new name, the Blood Angels. And it was a title they would earn, fighting at the side of Sanguinius' closest brother, the War Master Horus Lupercal. The friendship between Sanguinius and Horus was legendary, even inspiring feelings of jealousy amidst their brother Primarchs.
Oh wow,
Across
there
the
was
ranks
jealousy.
of the Lunar Wolves, Horus's own legion, Sanguinius saw an example that his Blood Angels should strive to embody. By fighting at the side of the Lunar Wolves, the Ninth Legion found in themselves a new sense of honor, discipline, and even mercy. They began to hold themselves to a greater standard, and to seek more in war than simply bloodshed. As the Great Crusade neared its apex, the Legion had been transformed. Cleansed with the gore-splattered killers of the Revenant Legion, in their place stood the Blood Angels, a true brotherhood of warriors, as proud and angelic as their Primarch father. But the flaws of the Ninth Legion were rooted in its very gene seed, and for some, it was too much to overcome.
Okay, that's pretty
Hidden from
badass.
but a select few, corruption within the Legion was slowly worming its way through their ranks.
Uh-oh.
In the heat of battle, some warriors would break, plunging into an orgy of violence that recalled the nightmare days of the Revenants.
Oh wow.
Those who recovered would be shocked and disgusted by what they had done, but for others, the madness would never fade, growing deeper until all reason and sanity was gone.
Okay, that's a pretty cool
For
paint
these
scheme.
afflicted Blood Angels, all that could be done was a swift execution, often undertaken in secret by the Primarch himself.
Wow.
Under the study of the apothecaries, this affliction was named the Red Thirst. To Sanguinius' horror, it seemed there was little that could stem the outbreak, and the angel foresaw that it would eventually swallow his legion entirely. The War Master Horus would gain knowledge of this flaw, swearing never to reveal what he had learned. But with his fall to the ruinous powers of chaos, this oath was cast aside.
Of course
Of
it
his
was.
brothers, Horus feared Sanguinius above all, and in his opening strike
Really?
against the Imperium, the traitor Warmaster sought to use the Red Thirst to shatter the Blood Angels.
Oh, wow.
Before his betrayal was revealed,
So
the Ninth
Horus
Legion
feared
was ordered by Horus
Sanguinius.
to the Cygnus cluster, lured with the promise of a cure for the Red Thirst. Here, the trap was sprung. The entire system had fallen prey to the power of chaos and left overrun by their demonic hordes. Upon the twisted and mind-bending hellscape of Cygnus Prime, the Legion reached its breaking point. Kabanta, the champion of the blood god Khorne, a creature of pure rage and hatred, struck down Sanguinius and hundreds of his sons. At the sight of their Primarch wounded and seemingly dead, the Blood Angels were pushed back into the state of bestial violence they had strove for years to overcome.
Oh,
In that
wow. So we
moment,
basically,
the Red Thirst took hold of them by the thousands.
I don't want to say like egged them on,
Only
but
with Sanguinius' reawakening were they pulled
pushed them
back
to the
from
breaking
brink
point.
of utter ruin. But the damage was done. Rather than finding a cure to the Red Thirst, a new shadow now lay across their souls, deeper than before and rooted in something more fundamental than simple bloodlust. The true extent of this new affliction, what would come to be known as the Black Rage, would only be fully realized with the fate of Sanguinius himself. As the Horus heresy tore the galaxy asunder, the Blood Angels escaped the Cygnus cluster and arrived in Ultramar, the realm of the Primarch Rabute Guilliman. Guilliman offered Sanguinius the position of Emperor over his newly founded Imperium Secundus, and while
Really?
Sanguinius reluctantly accepted, the Angel knew that his true fate lay with his father. In a desperate gambit, the Blood Angels plunged through the roiling
tried to get him as
that divided
Emperor?
the galaxy.
Wow.
They arrived on Terra in time to man its defenses alongside the Imperial Fists, White Scars, and a myriad of other loyalist forces. Amidst the burning spires and smashed fortifications that marked the Siege of Terra, the Blood Angels fought with a courage equal to any display in human history. But despite the unrelenting fury directed upon the traitor legions and the personal slaughter unleashed by Sanguinius, the battle seemed lost. At this moment, a last, desperate gambit was played. The Emperor and his custodies made a push to end the rebellion, teleporting directly onto Horus's flagship to face the traitor Warmaster personally. Sanguinius and his sons assembled beside their Emperor, along with Rogel Dawn and the Imperial Fists. But the boarding parties were scattered across the ship, and Sanguinius found himself facing down his brother, alone. Precisely what happened in that final confrontation has been lost, twisted by the sermons of the Ecclesiarchy and the censors of the Inquisition.
I'm sure that must have been
thing
one hell
is
of a
certain:
battle to see, though.
Sanguinius had perished. When Horus was himself slain, Rogel Dawn would carry off the shattered Emperor to endure his fate within the Golden Throne, and it was left to the remaining Blood Angels to take Sanguinius's broken body away from the grasp of the enemy. In time, it would be carried back to Baal Secundus, interned in a great stasis tomb beneath their fortress monastery. This tomb would become the soul of the Blood Angels and every successor chapter they founded, a reminder that courage and sacrifice is their ultimate duty as his sons. Though Sanguinius's final moments are lost to the wider Imperium, the Blood Angels know too well the agony of that legendary confrontation. From the youngest neophyte to the most lauded veteran, the grim-hearted chaplain Astorath, and the
Wow, that's
ancient
one hell of a
commander
picture.
Dante, all hold a record of these events more fundamental than any other. When the great angel died, the full extent of the Black Rage was unleashed. The Primarch's psychic death scream echoed through his sons, through time itself, so that even 10,000 years later, that anguish can still be felt.
Wow.
When the Black Rage takes hold
Still
of
to
the
this
brother
day.
in the midst of conflict or on the eve of battle, their minds are ripped from their time and taken back to this moment. Those afflicted believe themselves to be Sanguinius, or one of his proud champions, and imbued with a fraction of the strength and resilience of their Primarch. Any foe set before them appears as the arch-traitor Horus and his legions. The rage they feel is overwhelming. The Blood Angels were among the first of the remaining
Wow, so everything
loyalist
they see
legions
is
to
basically
divide
Horus.
themselves into chapters in accordance with the Codex Astartes. To see their legion broken, even by their own hand, was a tragedy, but the Codex was seen not only as a source of military wisdom, but a means through which they could further hone their martial spirit and aid them in restraining their dark urges. In the 10,000 years since the fall of Sanguinius and the birth of the chapter, the Blood Angels have stayed largely true to the Codex Astartes. Yet to accommodate both the flaws in their gene seed and the character of their warriors, they have introduced many small changes and traditions.
Oh?
As with most Astartes legions, the Blood Angels are led by their chapter master and chapter council. The latter is made up of both the traditional chaplains, logisticians, and fleet captains found in any chapter, but these individuals often hold other titles, not drawn from the Codex, but rather the history of Baal itself. Most honored among these are the members of the Sanguinary Guard and the Sanguinary Priesthood. The Guard is made up of the chapter's finest warriors, wearing armor and bearing weapons so ancient that they might be traced back to the Siege of Terror itself. They are known for the fearsome death masks they wear, cracking with halos of light that can shake the enemy with overwhelming feelings of terror. While many chapters field similar units of elite warriors each, the role of the Sanguinary Priests are reserved for the sons of the original Legion alone. Similar to the apothecaries used by the wider Astartes,
So what other
Sanguinary
changes
priests
did they
are deeply
make?
rooted in the blood of their Primarch and central to the traditions of the chapter. It is the priesthood that takes in raw recruits and oversees their transition to full battle brothers. They alone preserve the last drops of their Primarch's blood, weaving its essence into chalices so that their chapter might feel their father's presence or hear his voice. The Council of Bone and Blood is drawn from the priesthood, and it is this conclave that appoints a new chapter master, should one be required. Yet those granted the positions of leadership over the Blood Angels know that theirs is a dying chapter. Among their many duties is to keep watch over their brothers for the signs of their ancient curse. Despite every effort, the Red Thirst still manifests itself in battle, a shameful act, unless it is done in the most dire of circumstances, or under the guidance of the Sanguinary Priests. For
Oh,
most,
okay, so
the
it's
Red
still
Thirst is but a temporary fall into a
very
feverish
rarely
blood
still
madness.
used and
It is
under
the Black Rage that is
dire
permanent.
circumstances and under the careful
Those
and
wholly
watchful
gripped by the
eyes.
dying scream of their Primarch, only the Death Company awaits. This furious and morbid brotherhood is expected to perish in battle, their bright red armor painted in the black of mourning. Shepherded into the fiercest conflicts by skull-helmed chaplains, these raging berserkers hurl themselves into the midst of their foe, whether by jump pack or drop pod, and do not rest until every enemy lies broken around them. The Death Company is perhaps what awaits every member of the chapter, an unrestrained expression of their natural, honed abilities. Even within their regular units, however, Blood Angels have always favored close-quarters combat. Their battle companies field far more assault marines than any Codex-compliant chapter. This
Really?
ferocity is equally present in its war machines.
Interesting, I didn't
The
know
Baal
that.
Pattern Predator exemplifies the chapter's approach to war, trading its longer-ranged weaponry for twin-linked assault cannons,
Yeah, that was
array
awesome.
flamethrowers, and a
Yep.
far faster and more maneuverable chassis. Most impactful, however, is the Blood Angels' approach to heavy assault. The chapter and their successors have adapted a method of rapidly deploying Land Raider tanks through daring, low-altitude runs with their Thunderhawk gunships, releasing the vehicles into the heart of the foe, while trusting in the sturdiness of the machine spirit and the resilience of their brethren to survive. This method of assault is unseen in any other chapters, even the White Scars or Space Wolves, evidence of either the incredible skill or blood-fueled insanity inherent within the Sons of Sanguinius. This method of war, crafted by the Blood Angels Legion, has been passed down to its successor chapters. Scores of such chapters have been founded from the gene seed of the 7th Legion over the millennia. Some have upheld the reverence for humanity that Sanguinius had hoped to instill in his sons, whilst others have only fallen further down the path to desolation. The Angels Encarmine and Angels Sanguine can both be said to strive for the values of humanity and nobility that the Primarch taught, whilst the Flesh Tearers, Blood Drinkers, and Exsanguinators have left a legacy of bloodshed and brutality to rival the old Revenant Legion. Yet, in the hopeless situation
Some
the
go for the
Imperial
new
man
rules,
finds
some
himself
go for the
within,
old
it is
rules.
possible even Sanguinius might have realized the need for both sides of the 7th Legion's legacy. With the galaxy entering the time of ending, even the Blood Angels have found themselves pushed to their limits by the encroaching darkness. The Third Tyrannic War reached its apocalyptic conclusion on the homeworld of the chapter, and the devastation of Baal has sundered the Blood Angels like no event since the heresy. So great was the peril of their ancient homeworld that every successor chapter to the Blood Angels, save but a few, rallied together to fight again as one legion in its defense.
Oh, wow.
The victory at Baal is widely attributed to the supreme abilities of Lord Commander Dante, chapter master of the Blood Angels.
Yeah, we saw his video. He's a very interesting character.
Reborn Primarch Rabute Gilliman. Yet in truth, a great swath of the Tyranid High Fleet simply disappeared, with the only clue to their fate uncovered on the moon of Baal Prime. Here, Tyranid skulls were piled impossibly high in the 8-pillared icon of the chapter's most ancient of foes, the bloodthirster Kabanta. A message for the chapter that their destruction would be at his hands alone. That time may be drawing near, for the largest warp storms in all existence have split the galaxy and the Imperium in two. Cut off from the light of the Astronomicon, Baal is no longer merely the homeworld of the Blood Angels, but the center of the Imperium Nihilus, upon which every hope now rests. Above Baal, a vast fleet is gathering, a newly formed battle fleet, making ready to crusade across the stars once more. At its head is Commander Dante, now regent of this dark Imperium.
Yeah, he's
elevated
badass.
by Rabute Gilliman himself to
He's
a
a
level
very
of
interesting
authority
character.
unseen for millennia. Their duty is clear: to seek out every fallen world where the defenders of the Imperium cry out for salvation. This task is deadly, arduous, and impossible. But this is the very essence of the Blood Angels, the reason for which their old legion was crafted. On countless worlds across the Imperium Nihilus, though terrible powers gather in the darkness, and the Emperor's light has faded to a dim flicker, though every hope seems lost, and the victory of the Chaos Gods shines like a burning wound across a million worlds, bells still toll in the night. Once each year, from the mightiest spires of temple worlds to the most humble steeples of forgotten hovels, bells are rung in the memory of a fallen angel. In these places, however dire the circumstances, a day is still taken to feast and remember.
Oh, that's
Stories
cool
are
that they
told
still
of an
honor
imperial
them.
saint whose beauty, grace, artistry, and empathy for a brief moment
Now this
lifted
is
humanity
badass.
towards the light of the Emperor.
This is
to a
really
future
cool.
more wonderful than mankind itself could ever imagine.
That's really cool.
They speak of a warrior who faced down his corrupted brother so that his father might seize victory from the anguish of defeat. But above all, tales are told of Sanguinius's avenging sons, a gleaming host of angels who, like their Primarch before them, have become the wrath of the Emperor, drowning all who take up arms against the Imperium in a scarlet tide of blood.
The Templin Institute investigates the
Damn.
nations, factions, and
Okay, so there we go. There's the Blood Angels chapter. Wow. That was very interesting. That was a lot of information. I was getting a little overwhelmed in that video, which is why I was pretty quiet during most of it. Just it was a lot of stuff, you know, trying to absorb in all that video and stuff. But yeah, that's very interesting. Obviously, you know, the Red Thirst and stuff like that, which was, you know, pretty interesting. That it's still rarely used and under dire circumstances and under the very watchful eyes of the priests and stuff like that. You know, I mean, it is, I guess, can come in handy, you know. Obviously, it's not something you want to use all the time, but in certain circumstances, I guess let it go, let it play out, if you will. You know what I mean? As like a last resort type of thing. But yeah, learning, you know, still everything about Horus. I didn't know Horus really
Bloodshed.
feared Sanguinius. That was very interesting. I still would really like to see the Horus heresy, or at least the battle between Horus and the Emperor and stuff like that play out in some sort of animation, live action, anything. I think that'd just be really cool. You know, just to see like the Horus Heresy just play out in some form of media, whether it's a movie, a TV show. I mean, I really wouldn't be able to really do a TV show. I mean, really not much of a story. I mean, there is, but it's just a big battle, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it's probably why chances are like a lot of the stuff wouldn't really get made too much into like TV shows or movies or stuff like that. I mean, we do have the Eisenhorn and stuff like that, but that's being done from an Inquisitor, because you can do a lot of whatchamacallit, like, you know, like searching for clues and stuff like that. You know, at least you can do a little bit more, you know, of a story instead of, you know, okay, this is Commander so-and-so, we're taking this army and going to attack this other army here, and that's it. You know, there's no real, you know, story, but it'd just be really cool just to see that play out. You know, watching Horus and the Emperor just fight it out and stuff like that. I don't know, that'd just be kind of cool. But yeah, that was one hell of a video. That was awesome. Definitely learning way more about the Blood Angels. A lot of stuff that I didn't even really know. I gotta say, that's actually a really badass picture here. You got Sanguinius bleeding out and dying right there, his angel wings and stuff like that. And then you got the Emperor right over here battling. See, that'd be really cool to see in some sort of media. Oh, that'd be so cool. But yeah, there's, let's see, Games Workshop. Just check out some of the models, because there's some characters and stuff. I think I've pointed them out. I've definitely pointed them out before, that I'd like to learn a little bit more about, you know, some certain characters and stuff like that. What was it? They showed one of them. Wow. $30 for a codex? Wow. I mean, okay, yeah, it is hardcover and stuff like that. Okay, I mean, that makes sense. But I mean, this was like $13 to $15. I mean, yeah, it's not hardcover, but damn. Let's see. Yeah, I guess HQ. Sanguinary Priest. I'd like to learn more about him. Astrath the Grim. Commander Dante, we learned about him. Chapter Master Gabriel Seth, he'd be pretty interesting to learn about too. I do like his model, like that two-handed chainsword. That's pretty badass. And him, Mephiston, Lord of Death. I'd really like to learn about him, because he just looks very, very interesting. I think he'd have a really interesting story. Oops. Definitely vampire-like. Chief Librarian. Okay, that'd be kind of cool. I hope they do, I hope they do a video on him, because that'd be really cool to definitely learn more about him, because he seems very interesting, along with both of these guys here. Let's see, does it say anything? Oh, Chapter Master of the Flesh Terrors, fully aware that he cannot curtail the bloodlust that runs through his veins of his battle brothers. He's had a campaign against the Emperor's enemies in hopes that the Flesh Terrors will one day regain their place among the Imperial's pantheon of honored defenders. posed as if charging. This miniature is fully exquisite detail from the tear-shaped drop of blood set within a circular saw blade, representing the flesh tearer's chapter symbol on his knee. Yeah, that's pretty badass. See, all these characters I'd really like to learn more. And then this guy here. I do like how he has black wings. That's pretty interesting. What's his story? Is the Blood Angel's High Chaplain and Redeemer of the Lost. Ooh, Redeemer of the Lost. So is he kind of like Asmodai of the Dark Angels? Kind of like Repent, Redeemer, kind of, sorta, maybe, you know, along the lines. He is a true angel of death, a legend of destruction who fights like a man possessed and brings with him twin gifts of death and redemption. To come face to face with inevitable doom, if not by his axe, then by the hands of the Death Company army behind him. Oh, so he leads the Death Company? Either way, that is one badass looking model. That is really cool. And then Blood Angel's Librarian. Oh, Blood Angel's Primaris Lieutenant. Who's he? As the right hand of their captains by providing flexibility and help directing battles and engagement. Battle companies are often split into two demi companies. Okay, so it looks like it doesn't really say too much about him. A lieutenant who leads his brothers unflinching into battle. Blood Angel's lieutenant are expected to take command should a superior officer fall to the Red Thirst and assume the role of the Sword of Sanguinius. Ooh, Sword of Sanguinius. That's pretty interesting. Unforgivable sin in the rule, while victory exceeds the amount of savagery. Interesting. But yeah, I kind of do hope they go into, you know, do more of the character videos and stuff like that, because I would really like to learn a lot more about each of these certain characters. You know, we did see the one with Dante. I did do that one there, and that one there was really cool. Definitely learning a lot more about Dante, which was awesome. But yeah, I kind of hope they go more into specific characters. Yep, there he is, Commander Dante. And that is one cool model. All these models are so goddamn badass. Even this one here. That's pretty cool as well. Damn. I really want to play again. I really want to get some models and stuff. I just don't have any way to play or build or anything like that. And that's what sucks. Alright, well, enough rambling and going on. I could sit here all day just going through this and just talking about all the different models and miniatures and stuff like that. And the video would be like 10 hours long, so... so I should end it here. Alright, so anyways, yeah, there we go. There is the video on the Blood Angels chapter. Very interesting, learning about all that stuff. Like I said, it was a little overwhelming with information, stuff like that. I mean, I knew about, you know, the Red Thirst and everything like that. But yeah, a lot of the other stuff there I did not know, so it was very interesting learning all about that. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. That'd be awesome. Remember, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description box below. And of course, leave me all your thoughts and comments. Did they leave anything out? If they were to make another video, say on a specific character, which Blood Angels character would you want to learn about most? Let me know. And other than that, just stick around. More videos are on the way, and I will see you guys next time.